Huh. Wait. Hold on a second. Why am I not in my room? Why am I in Lucas's room? Wait, what? Why am I not in my room? Why am I in the guest room? Why am I here? Okay, I better get up. What? Why the heck do I have cramp? Why do I feel more energized? Why is my hand not wrinkly? What? Okay, that's it. I'm checking on what's going on out here. Where am I? Huh? This is weird. Maybe I slept walk? I don't know. What? Am I seeing this correctly? Wait, what? What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, Minty. Back at it with yet another review, and today we are going to be reviewing Freakier Friday, which I was actually able to see early on Wednesday, but I forgot to post a review yesterday because I ended up seeing Weapons that day, and I also had school, so I apologize in advance. But before we're going to beginning the review, what's up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free, number two, also made the YouTube algorithm, and recommend the video to more people, and maybe they could join that toxic. And do feel free to comment your thoughts on Freakier Friday down below. But with that being said, guys, we're going to. And if you're wondering what just happened there, a storm is in my area, so thundering, lightning, and stuff. So that's why you saw it flicker right there. But before we get into the actual beginning of the review itself, guys, let's give a quick plot synopsis of the film, shall we? So, transition issues, 2 decades after an identity crisis, Anna's blended family faces new challenges. Tess and Anna discover their past may be repeating with the next generation. Alright, so with Freakier Friday, the first Freaky Friday from the 2000s, I am a big fan of. I think that's, I believe, did it come out in theaters or was it a Disney Channel movie? I believe it came out in theaters, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably, I would say that's definitely out of the early Disney movies from the 2000s are live action. I would say that's definitely one of my favorites. When they announced this a while back, I was going, I feel like that this is a little bit too late to be doing a sequel to the original movie, but okay, we'll see what they have. Then they started releasing all the first trailers and stuff, and I was going, huh, you know, this actually could look fun, but still, I'm a little cautious because I don't know if it'll be good or not, because Moana 2 was very disappointing for me for a sequel to the original Moana, which I do think is great. So, went and saw it on Wednesday. Let's just see what I think of the movie, shall we? Alright, so starting off with the good for Freakier Friday, number one thing for me is Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis's performance back as Anna and Tess Coleman. I think they fit perfectly right back into these roles as if they never left these roles. Which, to be fair, I was a little surprised by because I haven't seen Lindsay Lohan act in a very, very long time. So it was cool to see her back in this role, too. I, as well, do think the surrounding cast is pretty good in here, too. You have a couple of returning cast members from the original film where they're still pretty good in their significant roles. As you saw in the trailers, Chad Michael Murray comes back, and he has a fun little side role in this movie. And then also some of the new characters you have introduced, I think the performances from the two new daughters that you have introduced here, I think are as well really, really good. Especially the main one, that's the daughter of Lindsay Lohan's character. I thought she did really good in this movie. So I think the surrounding cast was as well pretty good. I think the humor in here is actually pretty funny because you have Jamie Lee Curtis doing the same thing she essentially did in the original film, but she cranks it up to 11 in this movie, and for the most part, it actually worked for me because she was kind of making fun of herself, so it's always fun when an actor does that. So she got most of the chuckles from me out of the theater, and my theater actually was laughing quite a bit throughout the whole entire movie, and her and Lindsay Lohan, I think, both did great fitting back into the roles and making me laugh quite a few times throughout, where I actually thought this movie was quite funny. The music is very reminiscent of the original film, where it was very early 2000s music, and in here, they kind of still have that flavor, which I think the music is still good and makes me think of that original movie, so they did a good job on that. Also, how it focuses on the two daughters and the new what did I write here? Sorry. How it focuses on the two daughters and the... Okay, anyways, I don't know. What did I say here? I'm so confused. I can't read my writing on something. I can't even read that. But we'll just go to my next positive. How it kept me entertained by focusing on both sides of the story. So I think this certainly added. I think having the daughters switch bodies and be played by Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, and have Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan's characters go into the bodies of the kids, I think definitely was a smart decision, where both sides were fairly entertaining, because when you're following the daughter characters, even though they look like the daughters, they're getting played by they're actually Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan's characters, so that you still have some of their quirks and stuff, so that still makes it entertaining following them, even though it's not the actual actors themselves. And also, I thought the Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan side of the thing, where the daughters are in their bodies, I thought was pretty funny too, so it did a good job at keeping me entertained from both sides. With legacy sequels in general, this is one that usually is hit or miss with me, but I think the callbacks to for this movie all actually were pretty solid, where most of the time it didn't feel like too fan servicey at all. It felt like all the cameos just served a purpose for the movie itself, so I enjoyed those quite a bit. And the final positive I have for this movie is I think some of the transitions too are actually quite funny in this one. Not quite funny. Quite good in this one, where you have like little pictures that connect and then morph and stuff with the transitions earlier on in the film specifically, that I actually thought looked pretty good. So that comes here in the good. So that is the good done. I don't have any mixed aspects, so let's just go into the bad. The first bad, I do admit, it does feel more convoluted compared to the original movie, since you do have it being 4 people this time around compared to the first movie, where, to be fair, it makes it both very entertaining from both perspectives in this movie. However, it feels a little jarring where it jumps back and forth constantly, where you're going, okay, slow down a little bit, please. Plot 2 is basically nothing to write home about it. It's just basically the same exact plot of the original Freaky Friday, but this time with more people. But most sequels do that, so it's not really a big negative on the movie. But for me, think it does work for the sequel that they decided to go for. So yeah, it's a very minor negative. It might as well be a nitpick at this point. The new characters master plan in this movie, I wasn't a fan of either, because it made them very unlikable, where I was going, I don't know, man. I feel that wouldn't be that much resolved in this movie, where it kind of makes me not like Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, even though them two are the actors are there, but the characters themselves that take over their bodies, the two daughters, I wasn't a fan of their master plan, where it kind of makes them have a mean streak in the movie that I wasn't too big on. And I do think the setup of the movie is incredibly lazy. But other than that, that's not... Those... 2 of those were really nitpicks, and then the other 2 were basically just actual issues I had with the movie. So it's not that big of a negative. So let's bring out the toxic meter. And as somebody who's a fan of the original Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, I'm going to give this a B. As for a legacy sequel, I actually think it is one of the better ones. Don't get me wrong, that's not a high bar, because we usually don't have that much great legacy sequels. Like the last great example of a legacy sequel was Top Gun Maverick. Or there might be other ones too that I might be forgetting, but most of the time legacy sequels are either just forgettable, throwaway, or whatever, or not good. And with some exceptions here and there, as I said before with Top Gun Maverick, but this one was good. I enjoyed my time with it, and maybe over time, when I rewatch it a couple more times as well, I might even enjoy the movie even more. Who knows? But as of right now, it stands at a toxic goodness of B. But ladies and gentlemen, that's just my thoughts on Freakier Friday. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on the film down below. But with that being said, guys, let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. My bad. I'm a little tired, so ignore me. But with that being said, guys, I'll see y'all next one, everybody. Peace.